Hello my friends, welcome back. It's summer in Sweden, July, fantastic riding weather. Actually there's a thunderstorm there in the back, so I hope to get around. But today I'd like to talk about navigation, GPS, and especially the new Garmin 276 CX, which I have had for 1 week now, and I'm going to give you a quick first impression of that GPS unit. Welcome to my review again of the Garmin 276 CX, which comes in this nice big box. Originally I wanted to record this video outdoors, but it was too windy, so I'm now on my balcony. The first thing which will strike you once you have unpacked this, don't drop it, is how actually big that unit is. It's really covering basically all my hand, if you look at that, and it's quite thick also. Behind that thing here is the battery door, which is quite a big battery, which is much larger than the one you find, for example, in the Montana. The weight is almost 500 grams of that one, but it looks very robust. Okay, I wouldn't drop it from 1 meter down on the road or something like that, but it looks robust and it should be, according to Garmin, completely waterproof. Nice design, I think. However, there's a little thing I didn't like, which is with the buttons. You see they are sticking out a little bit, if I do like that, from the surface of the housing of the body. That is also the case for the on-off button, which normally sticks out here. So if you have the unit in your backpack, for example, you could easily switch it on or off by mistake. So what I did is just gluing a little bit of rubber, 2mm thick rubber, with two-sided adhesive tape around it here. I punched a hole in that. So this is basically so to avoid pressing the on-off button accidentally, but of course I can still press it by hand. On the back side you have also the contacts here for the cradle, and the cradle is the same which was used on or is used on the Montana units. Quite nice. I don't know if you see this. Yeah, you see the illumination is still off, but there's a little bar down there moving now. So now it's loading the maps, and I have installed the complete City Navigator NT maps of all of Europe, which is a really large file. It did not fit on the internal memory. So when I did the installation, I was asked to enter actually to install a SD card. So I have I think it's an 8 GB SD card inside there with the maps. That might also explain why it takes some time to get them loaded, which is almost, I think, over a minute, probably 1.5. And then I have even the topo maps of Sweden installed, which need another short time to get installed. So I'll be back once it is up. So here we are on the map screen. I hope this is in focus. Yes, now we are focused. It's quite easy to switch between the maps. Once you are on the map screen, you just press the menu button and go to Configure Maps. And you can select, in my case here, the City Navigator, which I have switched off now, or select the topo map, which I want to show you also, which looks actually like that. So if you zoom a little bit in and move a little bit out of the populated areas, you see there's lots of information there, like a bird tower, like swamps, like forests, like open areas, and the contour lines also very important. So back to the map for the road navigation, which is the City Navigator NT, and I have the newest version, of course, in 2018.10. So once the unit is switched on, you see this really nice bright screen, which I have now on maximum brightness, simply because if I switch it down, maybe this is visible in the video also, you can go to the on-off button. If I switch it down, go down with the brightness, it starts flimmering on my camera display because I think it's a modulated LED behind there. I don't know if this will be visible in the video later, so I'm putting it still on maximum brightness now. But normally I'm using it 1 or 2 steps down, which I guess will save some lifetime of the LED and the display. So very simple, you just press the on-off button and then have the possibility to adjust brightness and adjust the volume. One more button and you see it's press of the on-off button and you see the illumination is switched off completely. So simply increase it again, going the maximum again, out to quit. I think this display is really great, and what you will see in the next picture, which I will insert here, is actually a comparison between the 276CX display and the old 276C display and my Montana. The screen itself is completely configurable. You see I have now some data fields on the right hand side, but you could also configure it differently, like doing the page layout a full-size map with no extra information at all, so you just got the map. Or what some people like also is configuring some overlaid information in the corners. You see speed here, speed limit, distance to next waypoint, and arrival time. These fields, the contents of these fields, is of course also configurable. I find it nicest, and I think the screen is sufficiently large for that, to have the layout which I showed you before, with one column on the small column on the right hand side, and I'd like to have the speed, the odometer, the height, the arrival time, and the distance to destination, which makes, in my opinion, most sense. The map I have loaded now, as I have said, is a City Navigator NT map. The scaling right now, 0.5 centimeter on the screen approximately, something between 0.5 and 1 centimeter, resembles 500 meters, so this will already be several kilometers distance. So if you zoom out, you see you still keep the information about all the small roads and even the gravel roads here in the forested area. Now that is disappearing, but still the roads are there. We are at 1.2 kilometer scale, and if I go even further out, zoom out, and then first at a 2 kilometer scale, actually the small roads are disappearing and you only see the major roads. So let's go back in again. The menu itself is quite complex. You press the menu button twice and you get to this menu, and users of the old 276, 278 will be very familiar with that one, I think. The color layout is a little bit different, but the basic layout is the same. So the first menu page is the satellite page. You see how many satellites you acquire, and I got a very good accuracy now of 3 meters. I think it can't get any better. On the route page you see a list of all the routes I got in there. A few ones, and you see actually, if I go up again, further up there, which one is active, and there's no active route right now. That is correct. So back into the menu, the next, I need to go to the left again. So you see this is a little bit getting used to how you navigate there, but you basically do it all with the cursor button here. Waypoints, that's the waypoints I've been putting in there. The most important one is my home destination, and I want to have it always on the top, so I just called it 000 home, so it will be always sorted and on the top. There are some menus behind that, and that is interesting. The submenus to these menus are always context sensitive, so you need to be aware in which screen you are. I will show you that later when we talk about tracks also. So here you can delete waypoints, you can delete after category, after symbol, after distance, all of them, or you can send them wireless, which I have not tried yet how that works. The tracks, you see there is information about the active track right now. And there are different formats, FIT and GPX, which we all know. GPX tracks are very well known. A track, basically, for those who don't know the difference between track and route, a track is basically just a table of coordinates, which basically form a line on a map. It doesn't have any information about turning left, turning right, or any waypoints in between. It's really just a table of points, of coordinates. But some people like to have like a rolling map on the screen with a red marked track to which they follow, without all these navigational aids like turn left in 100 meters. It's just like taking an old paper map and painting a line on it if you follow a track. Now, my question was, how do I show a track on the map? And that is a little bit tricky. Well, not tricky. Once you know it, it's okay. You basically choose the track, say enter, and there's nothing here. In the 276 there was a little check mark down there, show track on map. This is not here, but if I go to the menu now, I see here auf Karte anzeigen, which basically means in English show track on map. So here it is. So if I activate that one and then go out there back to the map and go to the area in question, which is a little bit down there, and you see it takes a little bit of a time to build up the the screen again, because there's a lot of information there. I have it on most detail. This is actually the red track being shown here. So you need to be in the description page for the track itself, in that page basically where the track is described, in order to go to the menu and then show it on the map and have it in the rolling map as a drawn line. A nice feature which is not really necessary is weather. So this is now communicating via USB, and not USB, via Bluetooth with my cell phone, and it's getting information from there that it's unfortunately raining on Thursday and Friday. Hey, come on, what's on? Saturday seems to look better. I don't know if I need to have the weather forecast while I'm driving. I don't think so. You can configure some alarms, which I have not tried, like a wake-up clock, like at the next course change, like different things which I have there. I have not really tried those. There's a calendar in there, so if I go over there and show you the week, or the better the month, not the month, but the week, you will see that like, where are we today? 18th here. Yesterday I actually worked with a route which I used there, so it's keeping the routes in the calendar also, in case you wonder when you did something. Astro, well, there is some information about sun and moon and sunset, of course. So, welcome to Sweden, sunset at 4:03, and this is already half an hour later than a month ago. And a sunrise and sunset, 21:46, so also here we have already lost 20 minutes or so compared to midsummer. So, really long days right now. Messages. Well, I was a little bit disappointed because I hoped if there's a menu point messages here, or function messages, that since it's connected via Bluetooth to my cell phone, the GPS would actually show me if there's an incoming call or an incoming SMS. I don't necessarily want to have any further functions. It would just be nice to have a message, something is happening on the phone, so that I can stop and maybe call back or check the message. But the Garmin manual is, as always, not very useful with that. Garmin's instructions manuals, I think, are almost worthless. It doesn't really define what are messages. So I will need to figure out that, or send a mail to Garmin about that. The largest menu, sub-menu, is of course the configuration menu, where you have some stuff about the GPS, how you want to handle it with external power, should it switch off, things like that. The language, of course, the display, the Bluetooth setting, the wireless LAN setting. You see it's connected to my home LAN. So I could update firmware probably from there. The routing, that's the most important setting, I think. I have selected it so that actually I always get a choice after I want to activate a route. How do I want to navigate that route? How do I want to get the routing done? And I have two profiles configured, one for the car, one for the motorcycle, which differ in the way that the car is basically excluding gravel roads and including motorways, and motorcycle is vice versa. I'm excluding the motorways and the larger roads and including gravel roads. A little bit more about that in the when we talk about routing in a few moments. Then there's some information about tracks, or the active track. The interval basically should be. Why is that not automatic? That is interesting. Oh, there's something happening there. There's fire brigade is getting out there. But 25 meters seems to be reasonable. You can configure the color, and very nice to have it daily saved. If you're out on a longer trip, it's quite useful to have daily tracks, which will be automatically saved. Then there is something about the altimeter. You can set the built-in barometer to height meter or to barometer. Maybe barometer is not too bad at all, because then you could actually see the pressure, actually, the air pressure, and maybe do your own little weather forecast. I need to try that once. I haven't really been playing with that. Then there's something about sound, and honestly the sound module, this strange beep which it does, sounds very much like the old 276. You do not have a loudspeaker in there, so it will not tell you turn left, turn right. You need to connect some sort of headset, either with the cable or via Bluetooth, which I have also not tried yet. I normally don't want that. I'm just navigating by the display, actually. There has been some criticism about that function connecting to Bluetooth headsets, so I need to verify that. Then there are some heart frequency sensor, speed sensor, which might be interesting if you cycle, but I think that unit is too large. There's some timer, some time settings. The units, I got it in metric, of course, and Celsius. And the positioning format, which is important, we are using WGS 84 format here in Sweden and Europe. You might have something else if you're in other areas of the world. So that is the menu. Let's talk a few moments about routing. How do I start a route? Basically, you press the Nav button, you say new route. And you could, for example, look for gas stations. If you're running dry, you see it's searching for one. Oh, and there's actually one very close by, just 240 meters away. And honestly, I could see it from here almost. There's a building in the way. It's just behind the next building. So if I need a GPS for that, I would be really bad in navigation. But as I said, I have configured it so that I'm getting the question, how do I want to get there? One is a direct line. Or car, or motorcycle, or cycling. So I choose in that case car, and then the next choice would be, do I want to minimize time or distance or a curvy road? Well, I normally with the car want to minimize time, and you will see that calculation shouldn't take very long, because it is actually, if we move a little bit in there, you see it's there at the other side of the road, just 300 meters away. To stop it again, press the Nav button again, go down to stop navigation and stop it again. Of course, there are plenty of routes which I will do on my PC. So you say in that case, navigate a route, and you get a list actually of all the routes which are saved in the unit. You could just choose it from there. The other option is, of course, if you want to build a route on the map, like drawing points there, you would need to go to the menu and to the routes, and actually in there say I want to make a new route. And only if you go that way, you will be able to do that on the map. Now it has basically created an empty route file, which is called route 001. And by pressing enter, I can go back into the points of interest menu, Or if I go all the way down, I can see use map here, Karte verwenden. And here now I could actually say I'm starting here. I'm going out a little bit. I am going, for example, somewhere else down. Doesn't matter where. Where's my cursor now? There it's coming. I want to go there, and then maybe, just an example, go here, and that's the points I want to have in my route. So if I go back now, you see it has 3 points in there, and it should be possible to navigate that route right from here. Yes. It's not, but there it is, route 001, and I say again maybe car, and in that case maybe minimize distance just to see what it's doing there. And you see it's calculating 57%. Let's see how long that takes. There we are, and here we got a route. So actually, interestingly, it's going down there. How is it navigating now? Okay, there's no direct way down. No, that is of course correct. But what you might see now actually here already, and this is a good example, is the one problem which has been criticized very much for the 276CX, that unit, compared to the old 276. When you zoom, you will still for a moment lose the pink line which marks the active route. So in again, for example, you see here, this is a major road, these others are small roads. But once it has been drawing the active route over it, and it's really putting the pink line over the route, you have no more idea what kind of road that is. Is it a gravel road? Is it a major road? Is it a highway? Whatever. With the 276, it was vice versa. The pink marking was put under the road line, so you could still see, is it a straight, is it a whole drawn line, so probably larger road, or is it a dotted line, which normally represents some sort of tractor track or something like that in the woods, which is a very important feature for everybody driving a little bit more off-road oriented or adventure touring motorcycling. This has been done like that here with all newer Garmin GPSs. I guess the guy who did the firmware on the 276, 278, he's either retired or took another job or has been fired, whatever, I don't know. But I have addressed this actually to Garmin, and if enough people are doing that, giving their feedback, I'm really hoping that they change that, because that would be a really nice feature to have, to be able what road category you're supposed to drive on. Another important feature, which is great from the 276CX, let's stop that one here, is if you import a route which has been created in Basecamp. Normally, what you get is not necessarily what you see, meaning what you did on the PC does not normally represent what you later get on your GPS. And that is depending on the kind of map you're using and on the settings for route calculation in the PC compared to the settings in the unit. However, let's see if I find one which should work. That one should actually work, should do it. What you see, it's importing something called shaping points. And if I understood it right, these shaping points are defined or contained in the route file and tell now the GPS exactly how the route should be, independent of the settings. So now it should give me actually the same route as I have planned in Basecamp on my computer. It takes some time to import these shaping points. That route is about 80 kilometers long. I'm really wondering how long it would take if you have a longer route. Maybe you should split them then. There is still a limit of 50 waypoints as far as I know for one route, but that should be sufficient for most of them. Otherwise you need to have several routes. It's still importing. The important thing now is, if this function should work properly and you really want to get exactly the same route, you need to deactivate automatic recalculation. This route will not start right here where I am. So what it will do once it has imported that route, it would actually recalculate the route from my actual position and thereby lose basically that advantage of the shaping points. so you need to set it, you need to switch off the automatic recalculation not for this to be avoided to happen. And you see actually the route is not starting here, it's actually starting further south somewhere. That might look like a disadvantage now, but actually I really like the idea that I get exactly on that unit what I have prepared for the day in base camp. So good practice would in that case simply be to include one starting point in that route, which you now simply can choose either here on the display. This is actually the end of the route. You need to go down a little bit further. Good practice would be simply to have a good marked starting point, which I have here. The green point is my starting point. So now I can simply say, I basically want to go to that one first, which means, again, maybe motorcycle in that case, and minimize time. And then when you are there, start actually this route which you want to navigate. That's the only way to keep really the information which you get provided by the shaping points. I have not shown you yet the other screens I have configured, except of the map. So if I press the page button, I get a compass way. So this would show me the way I want to go. This is of course most useful if you use direct navigation. For example, if you are geocaching, you get the distance and the compass bearing. And I have configured some other fields here. You get a page now, since routing is active, with all the events, so all the roundabouts or the exits from a larger road, and you see when you will be there in probably 40 minutes, and I think that is 40 minutes 19 seconds at 21:26, and it's 28 kilometers. Then I have a page here simply which gives me the speed, which I can use if I'm not needing a map. And a height profile, which is not so useful right here because it's quite flat around Stockholm. If I would start driving now, actually what happens is that it switches basically when you come to the next turn to another screen which looks like that, which I will show you in the next picture, which gives you directions on what to do. This works nicely. It happens 2 times actually, in a good distance before the turning point and right before you get to the turning point. And I guess there, if you have a voice output configured somehow via a headset, you will also get a voice. However, it does not work if you get into a roundabout. It tells you second exit, for example, or third exit, but the picture of the map is totally off. It looks like this here. And this is a little bit sad because we have really quite a lot of roundabouts here in Scandinavia, and I think the guys in the UK will confirm that there are plenty of roundabouts there. So that is sad that it doesn't work, and I need to report this even to Garmin. So that was basically the review of the 276 CX. And by the way, if you wonder how I did that video, I will show that to you right now, how the setup looks like here. I was looking for some sort of bag to store the unit, and what I find is this nice little one here, made by Eagle Creek. Got it from my local outdoor shop. It's called Eagle Creek Spectre E-Cube size S in brilliant blue. And surprise, surprise, look at that, the unit fits perfectly in there. Now it could be a little bit thicker, but it's nicely protected. It is padded, it's very nice nylon, it's padded, so good screen protection, and you even have a little bit of space there, a pocket. You could either have a USB cable, for example, or a different memory card in there. So that's my tip, that little pocket which I bought in my local outdoor shop from Eagle Creek. I'm not affiliated to the company, I needed to pay €21 full price for it. So this is how it looks like on my balcony. I had the camera here on the tripod, which you see here on the tripod head, And here I've just mounted my GPS holder on a plate. Yes, this is a plate for my kitchen, which gives me a good stable base for filming. So, thanks for watching, and I hope I could give you some tips. Summer is still there, sun is going down right now, so hopefully there's going to be a lot of more pleasant motorcycling this season. And if you have any comments or questions about the 276CX or anything else GPS related, just comment or mail me.